Welcome race fans back to SVR. We're at the Interlagos paddock for the fourth round of the S2 Championship, which features a short sprint race followed by the regular feature race, of course. This is how things are looking after the first 3 rounds of the 13 that we have for you this 2025 VR Sim Racing World Championship. Empire leads the way on 48 points with 2 seconds and a win, and new winner Jose follows in second place by only 4 points on 44. Then there's quite a big gap to the joint third place positions of Blonded and Liquid Gecko on 26 points. We have Lou on 22. Focal has 20. Nintendo 16, Enigma and John Pauly are joint 8th place with 15 points. We have Jailhouse Chris on 14, Vice on 11, Cyrus on 9, joint with AMAC, AMAC in 12th position. And then at the back so far is Run DMC on 5 points. Brokaga lead the way with a joint second position of Delesi and Team Mega. Bergstein are 4th with Kimmy's, Delta and Jamplakt, the current order of things here in S2. This is the second tier, of course, of the open wheel Super Formula in the 2023 model. In Gran Turismo 7. All of our drivers are racing in VR. It is a VR exclusive championship, of course, and they are gunning for a position in the promotion playoffs at the end of the season to get into our top tier S1. In terms of the sprint race, what you need to know is that everything runs in reverse championship order for the 10-lap sprint here at Interlagos, and then we will go through. The drivers will qualify off screen and we'll go into a feature race for the round 4 of the championship. But we're ready to get underway. Looks like a balmy, warm day out in Interlagos. You've got shadows across the grid, but they are very sharp. We've got a baking hot sun and a 5.7 meters per second northwesterly wind, which isn't too bad. It's the opposite direction. If you get an easterly wind, then the cars get very, very loose into Curve 1. Let's get underway then for the feature race here at S2. As you can tell, we've got Run DMC and AMAC at the front of the grid. We'll focus on the back of the grid though, because that's almost certainly where the action's going to take place. It's drop the clutch and it's go, go, go. And immediately I can see one of the Brokaga cars snaking around on the outside, trying to find some traction and room, and then putting himself out onto the grass slightly in the braking zone. We've got a big accident, and that looks like it is V8 Eater, is it? No, it's Apex Specs who's had a problem from the start. Let's replay that on board with him, and that got very uncomfortable, especially in a VR helmet. That's not going to be a fun way of starting the race at all. But he's managed to pick back up again, and we've got Nintendo down there at the back of the grid. But AMAC managed to take the lead of the race ahead of Run DMC. This is going to flash by very quickly. Enigma for Coach Dave is in 3rd place. We've got Vice holding on, I think, to 4th position. Not for very long, because Empire has gone up to 4th from the back of the grid, and I think we're going to have to replay that all the way back to the start from Empire and see how that went down. Weaving around, trying to find that opportunity down into the first corner, playing it quite cautiously and carefully initially, almost making contact with his teammate, and then wow, the seas parted for Empire and he finds his way beautifully through, and that puts him 6th at this point. Then we run down Reta Aposta towards the Ciudad del Lago. I wonder if the 4th position is going to come as a result of navigating through here. That's a wide moment for both cars in front of him. Surely that's Liquid Gecko slipping down for Kimmy's, and then of course got a great run on Vice. An absolute dream start then for Empire into 4th position, trying to get those sweet sprint race points at this early point. And there's Liquid Gecko after running wide, as did Vice, but it looks like Vice has managed to, no, he's also got a penalty, and then we've got a problem going off the track. I can't quite see who that was. Let's replay that and try and find out who it was that just went off. I think it was possibly, no, there it was. It was Enigma. Let's try and get hold of that one. And is it the classic situation of those curbs on the exit of Essay? It's not. So here is Enigma in P3. Presumably this is going to open up yet another opportunity for Empire to sweep through. That's a big damage on the car as well for Enigma, unfortunately. That is going to hurt his progress through the rest of the race, naturally. Unfortunately, with sprint racing, it might be a sprint. It might make the drivers feel very excited about the possibility of progressing. But that's Coach Dave in the resurgent split liveries today. We've got Coach Dave Academy and we've got former Dark Side Racing with us today. But that leaves them both at the back of the grid. Amek runs down the start-finish straight to start lap 2 for his team, with ahead of Run DMC and now Empire in 3rd place. Vice is 4th, and he comes through for Jan Plakt, looking for those points that Jan Plakt so dearly need at the tail of the S2 Championship right now. Then there's a big gap opened out. There is Liquid Gecko, thanks to that penalty that both he and Vice suffered. And there is Liquid Gecko again running super wide off Decido de Largo exit. I joke sometimes that is the that's the Verstappen line through there from his 2021 battle, of course, with Lewis Hamilton. This is Jose, who also from near the back, a penultimate position on the grid, has moved forward, and that's a very nasty smoking front left tyre for V8 Eater, who's trying to navigate his way through and past Liquid Gecko. Liquid Gecko, unfortunately, heading backwards in the order so far, and we've got another yellow flag on the circuit at this time, and I'm afraid to say that's Liquid Gecko once again off wide, and he's really struggling out there. Jose is chasing down V8 Eater, usually a very fast driver pairing these two, and Jose managing to get the run here, but Jose's got front and rear damage on the car. He's running the soft tyres for this 10-lap sprint, as most drivers will. V8 Eater has a 3-second penalty at this early stage of the race. That must have been a phenomenal track cut. Let's see if we can't find out exactly how that took place. Here he is running through, and this is wide. Can't see what happened and why that was. This was an overtake under yellow flags, I believe, that he got that penalty. This was the overtake, and then the penalty was awarded. Now, that is a very strange one, because he had passed the accident, but he hadn't, I'm assuming, passed the point where the green flag had been enacted. So that seems to be somewhat suspicious there. I wonder if V8 Eater will have an argument, or at least make a case in the stewards room, that he had passed the stricken Liquid Gecko at that point. How is Liquid Gecko still in 6th after all his drama? I'm not quite sure, but Lou is P7. Brokaga doing well, P5 and P7 at this point. Looks like Empire has made his way and has stayed ahead of Vice, and thanks to the spinning car earlier, that has certainly helped Empire up into 2nd position now. Run DMC is at the head of our field, but being chased down significantly now by Empire. Vice on his own in 3rd place, as V8 Eater is in 4th and settled, but the 999 will obviously have to pay that 3-second penalty now. There's no way around it, as he runs through. A hint of a little bit of lag here on the car as well, which is certainly going to complicate matters for him, as Jose in P5, our most recent feature race winner, is setting a fast time for him so far. He told me he's got a new feature on his livery today. We'll try and have a look at that through the course of today's broadcast, as Lou is following through, and they're both now in 4th and 5th positions ahead of V8 Eater thanks to that penalty. V8 Eater is still suffering a bit of pain going down that start-finish line, and we have Amak and Liquid Gecko P7 and P8, the Kimmy's cars swapping over through that run. Sock is in 9th place for Jan Plakt, and there's another yellow flag. This is unbelievable. This is, I think, Run DMC has stopped dead on the circuit. Now, what on earth went down there for Run DMC? This is almost like a race control issue. But here he is, run through the Estor Senna, and he has gone wide. And this is a super careful run here that allows Empire into the lead of the race. Now, what on earth just befell? That is still confusing me slightly. A simple run in towards the S204. I think this has the hallmarks of an equipment failure for Run DMC, as he now looks for an opportunity, I think, and a safe position to rejoin. He's being incredibly careful here not to spin the car and get damage against the barrier. But look at this. This is most confusing, as if he's been told to hold position and wait for someone to come through. Is this a sporting rejoin? And then he crosses the path directly in front of his teammate, Run DMC. Well, I am at an absolute loss as to what is happening here for Run DMC. He's parked the car up against the barrier, and he's put himself deliberately right into the last position on the racetrack. Well, I wonder if he was told from race control that he was not positioned correctly at the start. But as far as I'm aware, he should have been on pole position, being the rearmost driver in our standings. But anyway, we'll try and find out what happened to him through the course of the week on the Discord channels, of course. Empire leads Vice, leads Jose Cervantes with a massive gap then between the two of them, as V8 Eater is back on the hunt now and unlocking some pace, managed to arrest the number of penalties here. Down the inside we try. Lou is going a very late braking round the outside. V8 Eater with a better run, and then there is contact, I believe, through the corner. V8 Eater is spun wildly as he crosses back onto the racing track. Now, he may have felt he had a justifiable reason to rejoin the race in that position, and well, he'd have some sympathy, but then he gets a double tap. It's the second hit that kills him, and V8 Eater is spun wildly out into the barrier. I wonder if there's damage. There is significant damage, and his teammate and Sock go past. So again, V8 Eater with all kinds of drama in this first race, and I'm sure we'll be talking to the stewards as Focal, his teammate. Unfortunately, this is huge for Team Mega, who were running much higher up earlier on, and spins and hits the barrier, and now has front and back and double front damage on the suspension as well. Wow. Unfortunately, that is going to be a really difficult race car to drive through the course of the second half of this very quick sprint race. Focal with a massive problem there, unfortunately. Enigma is in 12th. Run DMC has rejoined into 14th position, and Jumpy is at the back in 14th. But Empire leads us, and he and Vice have found a terrific gap here. Jose picks up a 1 second penalty. That seems like possibly an apex cut, so he'll be vulnerable at the end of this lap to AMAC, as Lou is holding off for now. The resurgent Sock, who is back with us and racing hard for Jan Placht, V8 Eater, Liquid Gecko and Nintendo. It's exciting, let's put it that way, for this midfield pack. There is Nintendo in the back of shot, and we got very close to Liquid Gecko here, who has had a very dramatic run, perhaps, and again running very wide through Decido del Lago. He is struggling to hook the car up through there, and Nintendo walking through the gap left by Liquid Gecko, who picks up yet another Decido del Lago penalty as he tries to regain that position. V8 Eater down in 7th now, and we'll have to try and get by Sock, but he's pushing incredibly hard here, and unfortunately looks like a little bit too hard potentially. Sock is on the defensive and on the attack at the same time. He's been sandwiched here between Lou and V8 Eater. He's trying to turn a good run into Yun Sao here. Of course, the drivers will be enjoying their overtake button as Sock holds on. Nintendo and Lou drops down as a result of a penalty, and I think someone was just heading into the pit lane as well. Sock in 5th, chased by V8 Eater, and then Nintendo down into 7th place, but trying to find a way through this very busy run. V8 Eater is looking very alive here. I think it's that rear wing that is causing all manner of handling difficulties. He's also got rear left suspension damage, so the car's going to twitch and squirm just when he needs it to be at its most stable through these fast flowing corners of the Interlagos circuit. The race ticking by very quickly, of course. It's a 10-lap sprint as the 999 V8 Eater runs through and is certainly trying to rescue a decent points finish out of this one for Team Mega, when Focal, I think, may have retired the car, or at least, well, no, he's pitted to repair the damage. There's not much he can do then and score in P13 as Run DMC, with his confusing weight on the racetrack, down into 14th place. Empire leading Vice. Vice has got some good rhythm, but Empire has now lapped a car after 8 laps, would you believe? Vice is not able to match or gain, I should say, on Empire's time. AMAC is in 3rd place as Jose is in that 4th place. Let's have a look at his car for a livery here. It's not easy being green. He's put on the car, I like that. Very good, yes. Brokaga in certain leagues, in certain divisions of our league, have been having difficulties. Not so in this one, but Jose is finding a way to make it less difficult being green at the moment. So a nice little touch there from Jose as Sock is in P5 and V8 Eater then chasing him down, and they've opened out a nice gap out to P7's Liquid Gecko as V8 Eater tries once again to find an opportunity. Sock is driving very smoothly and is holding off V8 Eater at this stage. Let's go rear cam here. Well, I think there's, as I say, a little bit of lag for V8 Eater to the main race server. This is obviously on replay, but we haven't been able to smoothen that out for anybody. So this is V8 Eater then moving around in the mirrors in the back of shot here of Sock, who tries to find an opportunity, but it looks like V8 Eater with a good use of the overtake button. Sock not exactly spamming it, pressing it when it was a little bit too late to defend there for a moment, and then we watch V8 Eater move around and make the overtake at least into P5 then for the team. So finally we get a smooth overtake with very minimal contact. You can see the cancer message on several of our cars at the moment, and it's great to see a cause that our drivers very much got behind. Sock in P6, Liquid Gecko in P7, Apex Specs in 8th. We've got Enigma in 9th position in the regular Coach Dave Academy car. Apex Specs has fitted the May 4th celebration livery, of course, for the former team of Darkside Racing from the 2024 VR Simracing World Championship. John P setting some good times now, and running wide slightly, so that's probably reduced his good times he's setting. As Lou is in 11th, and Focal is trying to get that 11th place. He's doing a good job here in this second half of the race, showing great resilience to maintain his run as Lou goes very wide, actually gets airborne momentarily there. It's Lou up in the air over the curbs. Run DMC is in 13th and finding life pretty tricky with Nintendo. It looks like Bugstein having an absolute nightmare today as the final lap has been begun. The final lap is halfway done, in fact, for Empire, who started at the back of the grid thanks to the reverse championship order. He's lapped at least 2 cars that I can see, and this is absolutely perfect for Empire, especially with main championship rival at the moment, Jose, in 4th place. Empire will come out of Yonsal through Subirados box in the shadow of the Samba rhythm grandstand here. The crowd are on their feet to witness Empire winning the sprint race in Interlagos for the 4th round of the championship. Vice has had a good run. He's not really used a lot of his overtake allowance, so he's left that in the tank somewhat as he comes through the number 35 for Jan Plakt Interiors. Valuable points for the team there to come through in 2nd place. We wait for AMAC in the Toyota Kimi's livery. Normally Kimi's are running the Ferrari engine, as then Jose from the penultimate position on the grid finishes in 4th place. V8 Eater rescuing with massive damage on the car a P5 in the end. We'll see what he has to say in the chat later on, I'm sure, as Sock comes through in 6th. Liquid Gecko in 7th, hard fought and hard earned 7th position for Liquid Gecko. Apex Specs has barely touched his overtake button. I think he's only just discovered it through the course of the race, and he comes through in 8th, I think, although just reserving, I think, for us here from the G4 division. John P in 9th, Enigma in 10th, with Focal, Lou, Run DNC and Nintendo making out the final order. Empire, though, your winner of the sprint. So I'll just need a moment then to switch over replays. We'll go back to, I think, the standings for a moment. This is the standings, of course, while I try and organise my my stream. I need to delete temporary data, so that's not always particularly great for everybody to look at. But this was the standings prior to any points being scored, of course, for the... Excuse me a moment, sorry, I am suddenly losing my way in how to find everything once I have once I have sorted my stuff out. Okay, so we've got the feature race ready, and we'll talk you through the results of qualifying as well momentarily. But that was a fun sprint race, particularly for the podium earners as well. So we will be right with you with the feature race here for S2. Worth noting, of course, that our division names have changed slightly. We've had an update. I was campaigning for this some time ago, but we have now all agreed that it is better to stick with S1 and S2, and then G1 and G2 gives us better expansion possibilities, and also indicates that G1 is not in fact worse than S2 in its performance level as well. But making sense. I'm glad to see that change, yeah, that makes sense to me anyway. So here we have we're on the grid for the main feature race. Then we've got Enigma qualifying at the back in 14th position. Great to see a full field here. Then we've got Lou in 13th for Brokaga. We have Nintendo in 12th. Apex Specs qualifying in 11th place. No mean feat that at all, as Vice qualified down in 10th, but he'll be hoping for a better run. We've got a 35 lap race for you here for the sprint, as compared to the feature race for S1, which was 53. So it's quite a significant difference between the two. Liquid Gecko is features on an all Kimi's row 4 in the OG Kimi's livery. Haven't fitted that new color change paint of the S1 team, but Liquid Gecko in 9th, Amak in 8th. We have Sock for JPI in that 7th position, with John P for the Lessie in 6th. Very impressive qualifying for John P. Then we've got Run DMC in 5th place. Another really standout performance there from Run DMC, who's at the back of our standings, of course, so far. Then we've got Focal in P4 for Team Mega. Very impressive again. And then we've got some very quick drivers, of course. Jose in P3, V8 Eater in P2, and Empire, championship leader, and Pole Man as well, out there to set the pace for qualifying. Hope you're ready for round 4 of the championship feature race here at Interlagos for S3. Let's get those lights on and get underway. We're ready to go then. Another warm, if slightly cloudy day here at Interlagos. It's drop the clutch and go, go, go. Fairly equitable start across the front 2 rows of the grid, but Jose has managed to get a good run. Then we've got some trouble. We've got, I think that was possibly Sock. It was Sock who has had issues going through the first corner. We probably ought to replay that one from Sock's perspective. Here we go with the start. It seemed to be going fairly smoothly, but the Kimi's car coming down the inside possibly caused Sock to run out of room here. He managed to wrestle control of that very, very well, but down in 11th position on a restart, and then everybody else filtering through fairly neat and tidy. Empire leads them away then as Jose up from third into second position, taking a wide line, as we see time and time again on the first run through the corners. Focal across the dirt on the exit of Subiridos box. We'll have to just bring those tyres back up to temperature and clean them out, because that was not the best way through at all. And as a penalty on the car for V8 Eater on this start, and he's not going to be happy about that. I wonder if he has to pay that on the before he crosses the start-finish line at this early point. He's on the soft tyres, so is Jose and Empire. It looks like a clear-cut decision then strategically for the drivers, as we'll see if V8 Eater has to pay that penalty here. He's running out onto the grass as well, so he'll be hoping that he pays that off now, and he does, so he can just pick up his momentum once again. But unfortunately at this early stage, that means that Amac has gone through, as well as Run DMC, who's in the dizzying heights of P3 at this point. Vice is in P6 for Jan Placht. I'm hoping to get a better camera angle, because it looked like he was about to be challenged, but no. Focal holding on to 7th against John P. And then we've got Liquid Gecko. I can't remember now. Didn't quite identify which of the Kimi's cars it was that put a bit of a squeeze on Sock, but he may have a case to raise with the stewards post race as well. Lou just making a beautiful pass through past Nintendo, and then unfortunately, as we've seen over and over again, overestimating the grip limit of the car under braking into Subiridos box, and then he picks up a nasty penalty, a 1.5 second penalty as well, and undoes the good work at this early point. Sock is in 12th at the moment, but the race is long and there's plenty of time for him and Jan Placht to regain lost positions. The Dark Side Racing version of the 2025 Coach Dave Academy car is of Apex specs. It's in 13th, and Enigma, Coach Dave cannot catch a break at the moment, down in 14th in the Boeing 787 numbered car. Then Empire then leading away from Run DMC, who has a raging bull of a Jose Luis Cervantes around the outside, and that this Curva 1 really does have a nasty habit of squeezing the cars together with different lines. But Jose got through. Run DMC coming back at him with a slightly better run. Then it's an overtake button battle down into turn 4. Jose managed to hold him off though, and pushes through into second position. So Jose ahead of Run DMC, ahead of V8 Eater, who's looking a little bit smoother on the racetrack in the feature race. I wonder if he managed to run some sort of protocol there on his router, and taking advantage of a problem with the Bergstein car. This is all feeding into Jose Luis Cervantes' situation, where he manages to gap these cars as they trade mistakes and trade places. Run DMC and V8 Eater cannot, between the two of them, get through a corner and stay on the track on the exit, it seems, through this lap 3. But the cars still settling in to their heavy fuel, cool tyre situation. V8 Eater into 4th place, now using that overtake button, and it's press it as soon as you dare coming out of Yun South for the best run up the hill and across the start finish line. He'll be certainly within striking distance. Looks like Run DMC defends to the inside. That pushes V8 Eater into the danger zone on the outside of the corner, and he's running through, but he tried a cut back, and Run DMC had parked it on the apex, and then there's a little bit of wheel barging. Usually you say rubbing is racing, but when you get open wheel cars interlocking their wheels, then you get danger. V8 Eater though, it took a while, half a lap or so, but he's over there into 3rd place now and gets the overtake on Run DMC. AMAC in 5th, and then there's a gap out to Vice out in 6th position. He'll be hoping for more than that so far in the race. I imagine it's going to be a one-stop race given a 35-lap distance, and the drivers are operating. Vice is the first of the drivers, I believe, on the medium tyre, so his gap to the leader is the one to watch on the track map throughout, but he's in P6. John P also on the medium tyres. Then we've got some good battling going on. We've got Sock in 8th place, who has definitely recovered very well from P11, P12 at one point in the race so far, and he's got his medium tyre shod Jan Placht interior Lamborghini. I do apologise, Sock. I don't think it's possible for a commentator's curse post hoc here, but unfortunately that is, yeah, we won't dwell on that, Sock, I'm afraid, but yeah, unfortunately that is out as various drivers try to navigate other rivals with penalties. Focal up to 11th now then, so that battle that was looking exciting has just been tamed slightly. John P in 7th, Lou on the soft tyres for Brokaga in 8th place. He really needs to get a move on here and get past John P for the sake of his tyres, as he sets a personal best and a session best first sector. Quite often that's easily done, and then it's the meat and potatoes of the lap are done in this second sector. But Apex Specs in P9 and Nintendo back there in P10 at the moment. Let's focus though on Lou in the Brokaga versus John P. Lou getting a little bit too close there, I think, in SA as he tries to run through the Pinarino corner and down towards the Bico de Pato section now. And yeah, then he gets very wide. Apex Specs walks through. I thought it was a mega car for a moment there, as Darkside obviously are predominantly black with red accents. But yeah, Apex Specs walks through the open door that Lou provided for him. Now Lou's using the overtake to try and regain some lost momentum and not fall into the clutches of the Bugstein car behind of Nintendo. Apex Specs though running through, and that looks like Lou just warming the tyres or cleaning them off after going off, as Apex Specs takes a fairly calm run through turn 1, then a very aggressive Apex through turn 2. Gotta be careful, you can get away with it if you're off throttle, but you touch that throttle through the Apex of turn 2 and you will pick up a penalty. Our drone camera catching some of the speed of Apex Specs. Looks like John P just missing the Apex slightly, as Empire has the fastest lap of the race so far, a 1:16.441, as the fastest laps, of course, aided somewhat by the fact that the drivers use the overtake button. We'll catch up with the leader momentarily. This gap looks to have this battle looks to have calmed slightly and be on pause while drivers get ready. It looks like Vice catching Run DMC now as well, and Run DMC himself not out of contention for a potential overtake coming on AMAC very soon. But the top 3 have opened out some fairly significant gaps here. V8 Eater just blasts past our camera position and is trying to catch Jose, but really the pace between the top 3 not too different. Jose in the 24 and Empire running through in the white, black and red D'Alessi car. At the back we have Liquid Gecko, who started on the medium tyres, as did Sock, who just passes Enigma on camera thanks to a penalty, I believe. Sock almost back to the position he was in before after that Spinella and trip across the grass. Be hoping he didn't get too much in the way of detritus into his radiators as a result of that one. Focal in P11. I can't tell you the amount of times I made the exact same error in practice as well, in a car with less speed and traction on the rear axle. Focal is in P11, and then it looks like we've got Nintendo. Let's go back to Apex Specs, John P and Lou then, as this new May 4th livery seems to be bringing some good fortune, at least, to the Coach Dave Academy team here in S2. Perhaps it did as well in S1. I wonder if Lord Vader himself will be insisting that the livery sticks and stays, even though it looks a lot like the livery of Team Mega from a distance. Here is the perspective of Apex Specs using that boost button to try and get past John P, who's on the medium tyres, remember. So is Apex Specs, and whoa, it's getting close, but he makes the move stick. He took a very late dive to the outside after using the slipstream and the boost. Apex up to P7 on this lap 8 of the 35. John P then just trying to manage this period on the medium tyre. It's a little bit of a voyage into the unknown. It's a hot day, something like 27 degrees centigrade here in Interlagos on race day, and the degradation will be fairly significant for the drivers. So if they are trying to do a one-stop, they'll be thinking about that constantly. Lou watches on in P9 and is hoping to try and battle, or at least sit behind it and wait for an opportunity that may present itself in a few moments. There's a yellow flag on the circuit ahead of this group momentarily. That was very short-lived, so I think Apex possibly just off the circuit slightly, but not in such a way as he runs out of track limits. Warnings, John P in P8, with Lou now in 9th, as he was earlier on. Then we've got the Bugstein of Nintendo in P10, chased down by Focal, but Nintendo possibly wasting a little bit of overtake button there of his push to pass allocation. It's a non-rechargeable battery electrical deployment in these SF23s. No recovery at all, so once you spend it, it's gone. And Focal focusing on the exit of the Curva del Sol and in towards the Ciudad del Lago. Smooth as you like then from Focal. Doesn't even use the full width of the track, leaves a bit of space there. Not entirely sure in his VR helmet whether Nintendo was still with him as he runs through. It can be a bit difficult to keep switching back to the radar view on the HUD mid-battle, or pre-battle as it were, but Focal into P10. That will please Team Boss Vicinity, I'm sure, no end. Team Captain, I should say, Vicinity, for a nice smooth run. Obviously more points are paid today in the feature race than in the sprint race, so a recovery is on potentially for Team Mega, and they've gone for the red wheel hubs as well, which is a nice touch as well there. Nintendo hoping to get back at that position. He's just given up, and it was just before a pit stop as well for him. Lou passing on soft tyres, so lap 10. Looks like a just less than 1/3 distance. There's damage on the back of Nintendo's Bugstein SF23 here, so that's something that's going to be affecting the grip on the way out of the corners. But that's the first of our, I think, scheduled pit stops. Focal coming in, and he's just finished refueling, and he's out on the medium tyres now. This is the long pit lane exit portion of the Interlagos track. Focal, I think, will escape exiting in P14. Liquid Gecko is in that position right now. Let's see. Yeah, Focal is miles ahead at this stage. So Liquid Gecko, some work to do, but he's not out of touch yet. Empire is coming on to Retro-Reposta straight, while you've got Liquid Gecko just coming off it through Decido del Lago. So Empire his pace is looking very, very impressive. The soft tyres wearing out now. I'm sure he'll be wanting to get through to the end of lap 11 or lap 12 as the clouds start to gather above the Autodromo Carlos Pache here in Interlagos, and we worry about potential for a different race conditions here on the track. We won't be getting rain today, but we'll cool the tyres, cool the track temperatures, and that will bring the shelf life of the second stint tyre to possibly a slightly more comfortable position then for the drivers, as we've lost the sharp shadows in certain portions of the racetrack. Not this one. The sun's still beating fairly heavily down on the start-finish straight. Empire comes through and does not pit at the end of lap 11, so we'll be running through to a 12th lap at least. Here comes Jose and also V8 who pit on the same point. Usually drivers try to box opposite, but certainly V8's tyre front left was looking very much worse for wear. AMAC is doing a better job. He's on the tyre life at least. He's promoted to P2, so he'll be looking for a really good hot lap here to try and get in the mix of the battle for essentially second place today. And then remember that Vice was the first and lead driver on the medium tyres. He gets past Jose and V8 as well, and so Vice will be very keen to hang on to that and try and be quick later on in the race. But obviously Jose and V8 will be out on newer tyres at any moment. Here they are, and so they will be quick at this portion relative to Vice, but of course Vice will get the soft tyres later, and possibly V8 just overworking those tyres to try and generate some heat. almost looked like he was about to disappear off the racetrack. Run DMC on the soft tyres with damage. Both Bugstings have damaged rear wings here. Hopefully there'll be some repairs produced in the pit stop. Lap 12 was as far as Empire was willing to go before pitting. I imagine we're going to see AMAC coming in as well with 52 litres of fuel in the car as prior to the pit stop. I think it looks like they probably won't have to put a lot of fuel in those cars. And AMAC goes through to start lap 13, in fact, and he runs in. That's medium tyres gone on the car for Empire. Waiting to see if we get any fuel added into the car. We don't. Run DMC comes in now as well. And let's see, Jose Luis, who is going to exit in Curva del Sol. Can he see Empire? No, he can't, and Vice is in between them anyway. So I think he's just out there, just out of reach here. Let's just peer into the far distance and see if we can see where the cars are. Those are his two main rivals at this stage. No lapped cars at this point. AMAC leads the race, albeit without a pit stop from Empire, and Vice in a similar position, but having put in some consistent lap times. You can see on the right of your screen, and hanging on to his pace here as well as possible, and needs to get through to, I would suggest, lap 22 at least, possibly lap 23 or 4 before he can fit the soft tyres. So there'll be a big divergence of tyre stopping, pit stop parameters for today. AMAC pits now then and heads into the pit lane from P1. Quickly, that Empire, Vice, Jose, V8 Eater are all going to pass him, but AMAC running very long on the soft tyres. I wonder if it's too long, but his tyres looking about equal to what we saw earlier on V8 Eater's car, 2 laps younger. Sock comes through. Oh dear. I hope that isn't the intermediate tyres on AMAC's car. It looks like it is. They're grooved at least. We'll have a quick look at this one, but AMAC unfortunately seems to have selected the wrong tyre for the race. Let's try and make sure that we're right here. Yeah, it looks like we've got intermediate tyres on the car, and that is a big error from the team, unfortunately. The Kimi's engineers usually much better drilled than this. He's going to be struggling hugely. Sometimes you get a graphic error on screen, but that's about as clear-cut as it gets. AMAC on the intermediate tyres. That is a huge, huge shame. John P overtakes AMAC, of course, and then I imagine the other drivers are going to start catching him significantly. We've got a little battle developing at the moment. This is Vice on the mediums that have done the whole race distance to this point, 14 laps, catching Jose Luis, who is trying to get temperature into those medium tyres after a pit stop. So this should be an exciting one to watch the course of, and it might just be round 1 of 2 when Vice pits for his soft tyres later on. Get up close and personal to Vice, who comes through. I think that's the Max Verstappen champion helmet that he's wearing as he comes through the Ciudad del Lago. Looks like the tyre differential is starting to show now as the time gap opens. Somewhat uncomfortably for him. What have we got going on? We've got a car in the pits at the moment. That's AMAC with a change of tyre. So all that work he did to run the longest on those tyres, on those soft tyres at the start, completely wasted, unfortunately, by running a second pit stop. That is massive disappointment for him. And certainly they'll be talking about that in the debriefing for the team. Down to 12th place from the lead prior to his first pit stop, at least. AMAC, that's heartbreaking. Enigma comes through in 11th place. He's got some damage on the car and he's desperate to get into the pit, so he'll probably be pitting for the soft tyres as soon as he possibly can. We've got Liquid Gecko, who is still on his first set of tyres as well, and he's unfortunately in 13th position, and a similar tale, we're told, of Nintendo in 14th place. Empire leads. Jose, who I think caught Empire a little bit through the course of that portion of the race and the pit stop, having put the medium tyres, the Hello. Hello indeed. Jose has fitted a second set of softs, explaining some of his pace differential. I had not caught that after the pit stop, so it looks like Jose going very aggressive here. Has to change compound today, and is going to try and run the race in a very aggressive soft, followed by, I'm assuming, medium tyres for a lap or two. Let's see what he can do here. Not getting the full distance out of the medium tyres, I'm sure, as those dark clouds continue to gather over the Sao Paulo district here. Empire leading Jose Luis by a decreasing margin thanks to a unusual strategy from the Mexican driver. V8 Eater challenging Vice, and V8 Eater comes through. That is new medium tyres versus old medium tyres, and I wonder if Vice had a penalty to pay or some off-track excursion, because that was a big time loss inside of 2 laps, laps 15 and 16. Let's have a look at his times. Nothing dramatic actually. This is just new tyre effect. Some 1.5 to 2 seconds faster at this stage for V8 Eater, and as I said, he is on the medium tyres. He's not doing the same trick as Jose, who's going for, I think, a 2-stop strategy today. So some drivers, I am anticipating most drivers, in fact, will be racing with the 1 stop in mind. V8 Eater in P3 at this stage of proceedings, having now passed Vice. You can just about tell the car once it's finished being absolutely emblazoned by this Brazilian sun on the high gloss finish on the Jan-placked car. Pretty big gap between P4 and P5, that is Apex Specs, who is running those medium tyres, as is John P. And they run and try and get through to lap 23 or 4, I think, to finish out this first stint on the tyre. It's going to be a long and slower race. That's possibly why Jose has gone for this 2-stop strategy. Sock trying to hold off Run DMC here. Sock on the mediums, Run on new mediums, and he manages to get through quite easily, you have to say, with his additional traction out of Yon Sao. Run DMC up to 7th position then, and he's managed to make that overtake nice and smoothly. Lewis in 9th on newish medium tyres, but they've certainly done several laps at this point, and Focal in a similar position then in 10th place. Amac in 11th after that problem at the pit stop from the team, and he now has quite the uphill battle here, having put in a 4-lap stint that were 4 consecutive poor laps, because it included 2 in and 2 out laps. So a middle portion of the race to forget here for Amac. We are past the halfway point here at the feature race for Interlagos. Liquid Gecko in 12th place, being chased by Nintendo, and I imagine Nintendo is going to get him pretty quickly out of Yun South, thanks to there being a penalty on the car in front. You can see half-second penalty. Nintendo should at least be able to see that as he tries to navigate the slower car, who is clearly struggling on the rear axle with traction. Nintendo, and there we go, wide again. Well, that is quite a surprise from Liquid Gecko, who has been, you have to say, quite wild today. I wonder if he's been missing some practice time in the 2 weeks between races, but clearly he's a little ways off yet, feeling comfortable in that Kimi's Ferrari engined car. I think it's a Ferrari engine, usually is for the team, but actually it looks like they yes, this one is a Ferrari. I'm sure the other one had a Toyota badge on it earlier on. Enigma is in 14th. He's now picking up those blue flags, so he can pass up to 3 marshal posts, but he then has to cede position as long as the car is not on newer, much worse tyres. He's out of position, but he's actually put on the hard tyres. I've not seen anybody use the hards today, except for Enigma. So the hards are usually not a very well favoured race tyre. here, but he's gone for them very recently as well. Medium to hard strategy, it looks like, for Enigma, if my memory serves. And that is then the difference between, whoa, dear me, there was a moment where I thought Empire was off the circuit just as we joined him. He is trying to rein in those incidents that have plagued him so far in his driving this season. Yes, he's had some great results, but I know he feels like he could have won every race that he's taken part in, but for the odd off-track excursion. I must underline, though, how difficult these cars are to drive. I certainly wouldn't want to be in that seat at this stage in my league racing quote-unquote career. Empire in first place ahead of Jose. Look at the sky now. It's almost like monsoon level clouds have descended over the start-finish straight. The crowd will certainly be looking up with some nervousness. I think the drivers will be looking at their radar, but feeling fairly secure that there won't be any rain here on the American side of Gran Turismo racing. But certainly I imagine it's a big change in terms of track temperature. That could help Jose here a little bit. Now at this point I don't know for sure that Empire will know the tyres that Jose is on. If they have a race engineer at Gillespie watching what's going on, they'll have to lean on Hector, our AI race engineer, and expect that the drivers have told Hector that they're on the correct tyre. I don't know if anybody is yet lying to Hector deliberately to stop that intel being passed between teammates, but Empire I think will have a fairly clear idea that this pace difference between himself and Jose might be down to tyres, but there will be some doubt in his mind at this point, I think, where he's worried and the heart rate will be up. I know there's still plenty of racing to go in this Interlagos race, but he'll certainly be questioning this in his mind. He has Jose now has the fastest lap of 1:16.006 on lap 14 when he came out fresh on new soft tyres. But some close racing here at the front, not quite close enough to cause concern for an overtake just yet. There's V8. He can still see his main rivals, and he won't necessarily know either that Jose is on the soft tyres, but within a pit stop difference between the two. Then we go back to Weiss in fourth, and he's just passing other cars. This is a lapping protocol then for him at this stage, as Apex Specs is being caught now by John P. A long race battle, and John P has found some pace, or Apex has found an off-track moment. No, I think this is pace difference then. A couple of 1:18s in this late period on the medium tyre for these two, and John P has found some grip and has kept those tyres alive slightly better than Apex Specs at this point in the race. Apex will be feeling pretty fatigued at this stage. I think most of our drivers will be after doing a sprint race as well. Not much in the way of a break between sprint and feature race for them. A little bit more than on this particular broadcast, but they also had to squeeze in qualifying in that time period as well. Jose pits then on lap 22, and so he's the first to blink off the soft tyre off this portion of the race, but of course he fitted 2 sets of soft tyres on the first 2 stints of the race. He's dropping down now to P4 at least. This is Apex Specs coming through. I imagine Jose will come out of the pits in front of these drivers, and there he is coming out now, and that's a lapped, I think, Liquid Gecko that he's coming out in front of. Is that an Apex Specs just in front? No, it's not. It's another Coach Dave car. So Jose out on the medium tyres. Now he's got some work to do, because he's got to catch and pass Weiss and V8 Eater, who are all well, Weiss has to pit for his soft tyres, and he'll be able to do that pretty soon, within the next lap or two. But V8 Eater promoted to second, and then his gap to Jose Luis is significant, almost a sector of the racetrack, and V8 Eater on those medium tyres that have done half a stint so far for them, about a third of the race distance, which is all that Jose needs to get out of his tyres. Where is Weiss at the moment? Is he headed in towards the pit lane? He is. So Weiss dives in. You can go into the pits here in Interlagos at a breakneck speed, as long as you stay off the white lines. And that should help Jose into third place. It does. He's running low on his overtake button. You can see that on the LED light on the engine cover above the halo. He's in a position where he has less than 25% remaining on the car. That's what that all means then, as it is green usually for the drivers over 25%, and it's flashing when they're using it. So you can defend slightly as you come through. Apex Specs in fourth is being passed now by Run DMC. That got very close. Apex Specs running outside, Run DMC on the inside, and it's taking its time, but it's finally happened. Run DMC into fourth as he's on those medium tyres. Apex still needs to make his one, and I am assuming only pit stop, with 11 laps to go for him at least, plus the one that he's on. At this point, Weiss comes out on the new soft tyres, so he doesn't know necessarily, but that he should have P5 nailed on, because Apex Specs needs to pit, and he'll be targeting P4 from Run DMC, and a much better showing for Jan Placht than they've been able to achieve so far in this S2 division. Lou in P7, running then for Brokaga, his teammate Jose in P3, and then we have Focal running in P8, just behind Lou actually, and he'll be trying to manage the tyres through towards the end of the race as we head into that final third, and the first of these scheduled medium pit stops starts. I think that's Apex Specs coming in, and I don't think the driver's having to put any fuel in. It raises the question with me slightly at the moment, and this might be an unpopular thing for our S2 drivers, but I wonder if we ought to just turn up the fuel usage a little bit, so they do have a little bit of refueling to have to do in these races, and maybe the tyre wear as well, to get them used to and ready to more than a one-stop easy strategic decision here. I don't think the medium has needed a great deal of management in this race, because they have a shorter race distance and I think an identical tyre usage factor to the top tier of racing. And if you take the reasoning that this is essentially a training ground for S1, then maybe those drivers might need some practice running a strategy similar in feel to the S1 division. We're 33 minutes in, we're 25 laps in for this car anyway. I think when we get to Empire, we're actually on the 26th lap. We're actually halfway through the 26th lap for Empire. And Empire leads V8 Ita, and Jose Cervantes is in P3. That is not P2 in front of him. That is a Bergstein car that is being lapped. So the gap for Jose Luis as he heads into SA corner. V8 Ita is heading through Mergulio on the approach to Yonsao now. So that's the difference between the two, and V8 Ita having to work the wheel significantly with Jompy behind him for Delesi. I think that's Jompy in 11th it is, as Empire continues his run here. And I wonder if he'll have to change his name mid-season or end of season if he does secure the title here to Emperor. But V8 Ita certainly wants to do something about that as much as possible. And I think he's been catching Empire here over the course of this stint, but he has been using his medium tyres a bit more. So we might see the tyres drop off for V8 Ita, or him start to be a little bit more careful closing in at the end of the race. I'll tell you who isn't going to need to be careful. It's Jose, our most recent winner here, because of course he's gone for the two-stop strategy. I wonder if at any point he thought about changing that strategy. It looks like it was very much plan A. It was a two-stopper, soft medium, but the rest of the drivers have opted for planning a one-stop. I think the only other driver who has two stops is unfortunately a driver who fitted the intermediate tyres by accident in his pit stop, and that was Amak, who's now in 8th place. Should have been battling over the higher position point scoring places here today. Run DMC is in 4th place, and then we've got Vice, who, as I said, was targeting, I think, that 4th now. Run DMC on the older mediums, Vice on the softs, and wow, that is very sideways on the grass. If he had held that, yes, style point would have been in the offing. Unfortunately, turning circle at slow speed when you're not lighting up the rears is quite poor on these cars, and he slips down to P6. That is a big shame, and I'm glad I caught what happened, but not for the sake of Vice, who is pushing hard to try and get 4th place. Unfortunately, now he's down in 7th place. I would have thought that 6th might be achievable for him in the remaining laps of the race, but he's also got Amac, who changing on between Amac and Amac. I haven't actually received any guidance as to what he prefers to be called, but anyway, Amac in P7 passes Lou, who's in the pits, as he hunts down Vice. But I think once Vice has cleaned those tyres, it should be a more straightforward situation for him. This is on board with Amac as we look to and from the apexes. Sock is behind him, but by a decent distance here. There it is, just about half the length of Retroposta is Sock, but having a very smooth run, and has hardly used any overtake either. Well, he's used about 3/5 of his overtake, but we are down into the dying embers of this race now. 7 to go, plus the one that Sock is on anyway, as Apex Specs, certainly within striking distance, and he ran that really long stint on the mediums from the start. He's now on his soft tyres, as is Sock, but much later into race Apex Specs managed to run, so you have to say the chances are very strong here that he can overhaul Sock. In fact, he sets a personal best sector on this sector 2 of lap 28. We will check in with our leaders momentarily, but at the moment here comes Vice defending hard from, I think that's, no, overtaking Focal down the inside. Focal didn't fight that particularly hard, but he's definitely struggling on those medium tyres. Maybe considering a late pit stop here if he continues to lose positions. Amac comes through around the outside, down Retroposta in towards the Ciudad del Lago, and the job is already done. Focal is having a really difficult time of it out there. I think it was one of the first to stop off the soft tyres, and he's abusing that front left through these corners particularly. This is Ferradura into La Ranjina, and through he goes, and it's yeah, definitely leaning on that front left significantly. The gap behind is not so great that he can take a free pit stop. I think if Apex catches him, then he might consider it a quick tyre change. But Apex Specs ahead of Lou, ahead of Sock, who's down in 10th place. Jumpy in 11th currently, with Nintendo in 12th. We've got some close running here. Enigma and Liquid Gecko fighting over the final position on the track, which is great to see. Good to see drivers still pushing, still trying their best, and not giving up to the end of the race. And credit to them, because it is a tough place to be in mentally when you're running at the back of the grid, especially if you've had a race-long and race-damaging incident early on, and it has you were just basically hanging on and hoping for some big thing to happen to cars in front of you, because in the normal course of events, it's unusual to catch very big distances on a dry race without a safety car in the offing. Looks like Empire just getting a blue flag, or I think possibly the car he just passed is getting that from someone else. That's V8 Eater. I wonder if he's just managed to get past his teammate, has he? And put a lap on V8 Eater's gap then. He is heading into Ferradura, and Jose is down heading in towards the Ciudad del Lago. So a pretty big gap, and it looks like Jose Luis not enjoying these medium tyres at this phase of the race. He's using the overtake. The V8 Eater's almost used as much as him, but he's not really gaining a great deal of ground. 16.7 the last 2 laps from Jose, and V8 Eater 17 flat and 18.2, presumably just lapping somebody there. V8 has cost him some time, but he can see Empire. It is not all over. V8 on the mediums, certainly older mediums, or at least more used mediums than Empire. V8 is catching, you have to say. It's identical lap times the last 2 laps, but lap 29 was something quite special from V8 a 17 flat to Empire's 18 flat, a whole second gained. Presumably, again, that's got something to do with lapping traffic, but V8 has had a smoother run through that traffic, and the gap is not huge. So we'll just keep our eye on this, because V8 with 3 to go probably has about a 3-second gap to Empire. So Empire, it's not all over and done with. Please tell me that's not Empire off the circuit. We've got an overtaking ban on with a yellow flag at the moment. Empire's fine, but someone else had gone off the circuit, and in the middle sector, ooh, I didn't quite catch who that was. Momentarily there, they were turned around. Where are they? Why can't I catch them? Try again. Come on, Webbo, let's get that car. I apologise for the graphic issue. For some strange reason, it will not let me see what happened here. Let's ride with Jose, as we've got the car. It's the Coach Dave Academy car who went off. Unfortunately, I want to say that's Enigma. It is. He's stopped dead. I think he's just and he quit it. He actually disconnected. I think that's the situation for him. Unfortunately, we lose a driver. That's Enigma at the back of the grid. Hope that wasn't just a despondent quit out. This is Empire catching Jose's teammate in the Bro Cargo. I think that's Lou, P8 Lou, to put in a lap. Amac has gone in for pit stop number 3. What is that all about from Amac? I think, oh, it's damage. So I wonder if he collided perhaps with the driver that just retired, Enigma, and he's got damage, and he's going for a new set of tyres. This has been a race to forget, really, for Amac, unfortunately, as Empire heads down Retro Costa with 2.5 laps to go, there or thereabouts. We're on board with V8 pushing hard, but trying to make sure that those tyres will last to the end of the race. Where is Jose? It's not the car most immediately behind. I think that's Sock. So it's actually Jose who hasn't been able to really factor into the battle here for P1 and P2 by the end of the race. A 2-stop strategy hasn't really worked for him against those two, but it has worked against Vice, who is in that P5 and a significant margin further back. Now also into a phase on the soft tyres of management. That's going to be tricky. Apex, the solo, well, forgive the pun, the solo Coach Dave car today in P6. As Lou, there is Lou in the Bro Cargo, just getting the blue flags, I'm assuming, from Empire in the Delesi. I don't think that would be Job P at this point. Sock in P8. Is the car slow through Curva del Sol? I think we're possibly just giving up a position momentarily. Focal is in P9 for Team Mega, running on a new set of soft tyres, so he did pit again for those soft tyres, I believe, and that is then the Delesi of John P having to hand track position over to the Bro Cargo of the Mexican Jose Luis, who goes down the inside. That should be made fairly easy. John P on the racing line, but allowing him through and lifting on the way into Ferradura. Amac in P11 on a new set of softs with a repaired front wing, running out of spare parts here for Kimmy's, as Nintendo heads through in towards Ferradura for the 33rd time. He will only have to do 34 laps at most, I think, at this point. Liquid Gecko finding some pace here. He's gone for the hard tyres and using the overtake boost, but unfortunately it is probably far too far away for anything to be of concern. This is Empire having just passed, I think, a gaggle of cars on his now final lap, and V8 Ita has caught him significantly. V8 Ita another half a second faster on the last 2 laps combined. So Empire managing the tyre, V8 Ita siding through the traffic, and the pressure is on here on this final lap, which is brilliant to see, except if you are Empire or the D'Alessi squad. But here comes V8 Ita reeling in Empire at this point. Oh dear, that was unexpected. A car unlapping themselves, I think, for V8 Ita. Who was that? Was that Sock heading through? That has arrested his progress, and I think making contact to unlap yourself is certainly something that the stewards will look at if it's raised by V8 Ita. Anyway, I think that has meant that Empire has an easier run of it. He'll get a little toe on this final lap as well. He's going to try and put in a good lap here with the boost. Use up every bit of battery he's got left. It doesn't give you anything to finish the race on it. Empire double wins then in Interlagos and back on top of the tree. Empire in the lead of this race from the start. V8 Ita up to 2nd position. A good run, and he took it fairly close to a finish. Jose gets another podium, and I think he'll be happy with that, despite the 2-stop strategy. Run DMC, this could be very good for him, as he's got one more braking corner to go through Yun Sao. This has got to feel fantastic for the Buckstein driver at the bottom of our championship standings, coming through to take a 4th position today for his Buckstein Transport Service team. Congratulations to Run DMC. What a great run that was, as Vice managing those soft tyres on the medium soft strategy. Never really got close enough to fight for a podium, but again, another driver at the tail of the standings finishing high up in P5. Vice finishing the race. Then we've got Apex Specs coming through. He looks like he's done everything that's required to get through to finish the race in the May 4th special livery for the team. Lou will definitely finish 7th because Sock has already taken the flag in 8th, Focal 9th, Amac in 10th, John P in 11th, Nintendo and Liquid Gecko finish out the total finishes. Unfortunately, we lost a driver at the end of the race, but that was your S3 race meet around Interlagos. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave your comments afterwards. Remember, there are great ways to support both at SVR-Racing through our Discord and on their channel, but also my channel too. The thanks button is available. Memberships are around. I've got a merch store access through the Linktree link in the description of the video as well. But whatever happens, I really appreciate everybody for watching, subscribing and liking. So thanks everybody for this. Thanks for today for S2, and we will catch you all on the next race day.